Just a reminder, we do not have a showmanship bill. There is a showmanship bill stapled outside of the Junior Fair Board office. We also do not have county board and raise bills, and they will not be available until the completion of showmanship.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. Can we have 18-year-olds start making their way to the holding pen? Lillian Zenmeister and Emma Labaugh.
So for our 17-year-olds, we are going to do 2 heats just because the class is large. So please listen in the barn so you know which heat you are in, so you know when to come up to the holding pens. We're going to do our first heat of 17-year-olds, and these exhibitors are Connor Nenenchuk, Allison Korniak, Madeline Griffith, Garrett Talby, Kaylin Williams, and Noah Bunting. Please be making your way to the holding pens.
Well, good morning, and it's certainly my pleasure to be here in Clermont County and be able, to work through your showmanship and then the county born and bred show here later on and get started into showmanship and I guess just a trio of them here in our first and oldest division of them. And we're not, I guess, going to necessarily give away too many tips and pointers yet. We'll probably talk in more detail and discussion as we start rolling through some of these older kids. But I think all three of these do a good job. And I guess, honestly, a lot of the main things we'll talk about all day, at least in this show judge's opinion, are going to be just pace and transitions and turns and ring presence and posture. And I think from start to finish in this particular drive, there's one of them that's done the best job, honestly, from the word go. Their animal's in the right spot and not only see the most of this animal, but they're in the most appropriate, not only position and distance away from me, but also speed throughout the ring. The young man there with the blue barrel is going to go ahead and win. And I think, honestly, young man does so relatively handily. Take nothing away from the young ladies. His eye contact was good. His whip placement was good. And I think we can all see ringside. Just if we sit back and watch these kids drive hogs, he stays in the most consistent pace. He keeps that barrel's head up and rolling. You know, maybe every once in a while from time to time, that barrel wants to stop and have to restart on him through a turn or two. I wish maybe to nitpick we could stay in motion through those. But still, young man does a very nice job. I think the close decision was between 2 and 3 because they're on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of just intensity, and they both have partners that are fighting them a little bit more than what you would call ideal. I guess one of them just does a better job in terms of staying in motion. I've maybe just seen a couple more extra passes or views. I like the young lady with the belted hog to go ahead and go second. Young lady with the white hog is going to go ahead and be 3. And again, I said a close decision. Young lady with the belted hog, intense, good eye contact. Gilt wanted to fight her, maybe tucked in behind me from time to time. Young lady worked her tail off there to round out the class. Just one that was too stop and go. Needed to see more of that when working towards the center of the ring. If you would, put your hands together and congratulate those 3 kids as they head out.
Noah Bunton, please be making your way to the show arena at this time. Your class is about to enter the ring. Congratulations, age 18 showmanship. First place, Luke Jennings. Second place, Lillian Zinmeister. And third place, Emma Lava. Entering the arena at this time is showmanship age 17. These exhibitors are Connor Ninachuk, Allison Korniak, Madeline Griffith, Garrett Talby, Kaylin Williams, and Noah Bunting. Judge, this is your class. The second heat of age 17 showmanship can be making their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Hannah Heller, Nathaniel Royce, Brooklyn Wareham, Connor Ninachuk, Lillian Nichols, and Amber Averwater.
We got 2 heats of them here in this next division, and going to go ahead and pen 3 of them to keep back. And just talk real quickly, the 2 youngsters we're going to dismiss. Young man with the cheetah print gilt there does an awesome job in terms of intensity. Gilt's maybe wanting to fight him a little bit, wanting to just to be a little more stop and go, kind of like we can see there. Just wish we were working, and that gilt was just driving in a more consistent pace and motion. Maybe every once in a while we got to watch we don't hit that gilt on the top side of her spine or her back. Young lady over here to my left, another one, does a really nice job at just keeping that gilt in motion. Her eye contact's good, presentation's good, maybe similar comments. That gilt's a little more stop and go. We've almost got to completely stop that gilt and pivot her 90 degrees and then kick her back into motion. If we could keep working through those turns, and again, too, we've got to watch every once in a while we're not hitting those things on the top of their spine, but still, a pair of showmen that do a good job. If you would, give them a round of applause as they head out.
We would like to introduce our judge today. His name is Gary Sproul of Urchardsville, Ohio. Graduate of Ohio State University with a bachelor's in animal science. Garrett owns G&S Swine, a 100-sow show pig operation selling prospects year-round around the country. He has judged shows across the U.S. for the past 9 years. Let's give a round of applause for our judge.
Went ahead and keep 3 of them here in our second heat as well. I'm going to dismiss our other 3 young ladies doing a nice job in terms of just sitting here in presentation. And obviously, I think all 3 of them wish that their partners would give them a better drive here today. Just need to see more of them off of the rail, working more towards the center. And honestly, it can be one of those things. Showmanship's a partnership deal. And if your partner decides they don't want to do it on that particular day, it's you don't have a halter or a lead or anything to put them where they need to be. And it can be incredibly challenging. So I think a different day, a different partner, young ladies could all have a different outcome. But if you would, show them some support as they head out. We'll work through your finals.
Age 16 of Showmanship can be making their way to the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Brianna Blakely, Lily Talby, Angela Jones, Riley Pence, Braden Fernenbach, Angela Jones, and Shelby Highfield.
Well, as we get out here in our, I believe, 17-year-old finals here, I think all 6 of them did a very nice job. And I think you find 3 young ladies to the top that just do the most consistent job of the things that we're going to talk about. And I guess just to talk maybe as a group of them as a whole, or maybe just a few more talking points. I think all of them maybe from time to time could stand to just grab a gear and get these things moving just a fuzz faster. I maybe wish all of them either one almost get too close to me or too far into my peripheral, or kind of like right now, they all almost want to get too far away from me, especially when there's only a few of them left out here driving. There's I call it kind of the Dead Sea in front of me, the 5 to 10 foot range. Quite honestly, all of them just leave that area of the ring just open and unattended too much for my personal liking, and that's still being nitpicky because I still think you had 6 showmen that do a very good job. But when it comes down to choose a winner in this particular division, I think one of them surfaces just in terms of they've been the most consistent in terms of their whip placement. You've seen the most angles of this hog. It's not just a side to side or a coming or going. You see them at 30 degrees or 60 degrees or 90 degrees, and then from there, I think just their ring presence and their posture. Young lady with the blue gilt's going to win this particular division. Congratulations to her. And kind of like I said, I think from time to time that gilt can grab a gear. She maybe wants to get a little more stop and go than I deem ideal, but young lady does an awesome job and certainly deservedly needs to win. Young lady with the half belted gilt there to my left is going to go ahead and be reserve, and I actually probably preferred her pace a little bit better than the young lady who beats her. She stays a little bit faster geared. Why does she go second? Maybe don't see quite as many views of her. I need to start to talk a little bit more about whip placement, and I guess it's a nitpicky thing that we teach kids at, but I need to change necessarily where she's hitting that animal, and by that I mean we teach kids at home their go buttons on their side, on their rib cage, from behind their shoulder blade to in front of their hip. If you want them to go left or right, you've got to hit them up under their chin or the side of their face or in their jawline. Maybe from time to time, if you actually watched where her whip was hitting that pig, it was more so on that pig's forearm or shoulder blade or the top of its spine. Kind of the same thing can be said for the young lady that goes third. You can actually start to see where those whip marks are at. We've got them more on that animal's shoulder blade and upper spine and forearm, realistically, rather than down where they should be ideally in a setting. But still, young lady did the next best job in terms of eye contact, intensity, pace, maybe got a little more stop and go than ideal. We got a little out of whack down here. A young lady was the one that's going to go ahead and be fourth, and a young lady did an awesome job when you had more space in the ring, is separating yourself, do a great job of keeping that animal on the move. I need to see a few extra views. I'd like to see you drive that thing at me, go away from me, work at a few different degrees, and when we were in a bigger group, maybe just got a little bit more stop and go. Young man over here to my left was 5, and young man did an awesome job of always staying in the center of the ring. Maybe from time to time that gilt simply put was too stop and go. Young man, I'd like to just you to use a little bit more of your whip, and by that I mean use back, hold that thing on the handle so your whip's a little bit longer on you. You maybe almost wanted to stand too far up on the side of that pig. Young man that rounds out the class did an awesome job of keeping that thing in motion. I kind of caught you, I guess, a cardinal sin for me when I penned you in your initial heat. As soon as I penned you, you went ahead and crossed right in front of me and cut my viewpoint off when you went to the holding pen. I think if we clean that mistake up, we can move you up. If you would, congratulate those kids on an awesome drive.
Congratulations, Showmanship age 17. First place, Madeline Griffith. Second place, Hannah Heller. Third place, Allison Korniak. Fourth place, Tyler Barkhurst. And fifth place, Garrett Talby. Entering the arena at this time is Showmanship age 16. These exhibitors are Brianna Blakely, Lily Talby, Angela Jones, Riley Pence, Braden Fehrenbach, Angela Jones, and Shelby Highfield. Judge, this is your class. Making their way to the show arena at this time should be Showmanship, age 15. These exhibitors are Stacy Arthur, Hayden Sparks, Riley Lawball, Waylon Sr., Katie Woofer, Kaylee Jennings, Michaela Blankenship, Anya Nelson, and Alex Bosom.
Well, just 6 of them here in this particular age division, and I guess hopefully I don't seem like we're flying through it. Promise we're not going to, but I think this group of them as a whole, quite honestly, lines up incredibly logically the entire way through. I think when you break them down, one of them, it just is more consistent in terms of their pace. They're good in terms of their eye contact, their transitions, and they're the showman of our top pair in this particular drive. They've been the showman that's never cut my viewpoint off or stepped in between their animal and the judge, and from there I still prefer their pace, their intensity. Young lady there on the far side in the red's going to go ahead and win this particular division. Does a very nice job. I think from time to time, young lady, a couple small things. Maybe you want to drift just a fuzz far away from me, and then when you switch sides of that animal, I'd love to see you switch whip hands. And I know that sounds nitpicky, but we should always use the whip hand that's closest to our animal. It makes it easier to reach across to get the other side of their face. If you're using the far side and trying to reach across, it just makes everything harder. But I thought young lady did a very nice job. Second's the young lady right here in front of me, and when she first came in, I thought, man, she's going to be tough to beat. Does an awesome job in terms of whip placement, does a great job keeping that gilt's head up, and I really thought that decision was going to be close. If we could clean up one major mistake, is what I would call it. I caught you maybe a couple times. You did an awesome job giving me a side profile, and then as you went to drive away from me, when you went to get on the other side of your pig, instead of crossing in front of her face, you crossed around the rear of that gilt and completely stepped in between myself and your animal and cut my viewpoint off. I think if we go around that animal's face in that turn and don't make that particular mistake, we're still driving that top pair, because I thought past that the decision was very close, but young lady in second still did a very nice job. Young lady right here in front of me is going to go third, and I think very logically slides into that spot. Maybe doesn't do as many of the extras as what the two young ladies above her do, but in comparison to her contemporaries, that's the next best job of working in the center of the ring, keeping that gilt in motion. We got to change what you just did right there. We should never hit the gilt in her ham or hock or rear end. If you want that thing to go, we need to hit them on their side over their rib cage and get them into motion. But still, young lady does an awesome job. Young lady on the far side in the corner is going to go ahead and be fourth. Our young man with the blue gilt will be 5. Young lady to my left is going to be 6. And to talk that trio of them as a group, because I think they're similar. They're all having to fight their partners a little bit more than ideal. I realistically need to see all 3 of them off of the rail working more towards the center of the ring. I kind of line those up in order of the most that I've seen them. I saw the young lady more than the young man more than the young lady there in 6th, but an awesome group of them. Congratulate all 6 as they head out.
Congratulations, Showmanship age 16. First place, Shelby Highfield. Second place, Lily Talby. Third place, Angela Jones. Fourth place, Brandon Blakely. And fifth place, Braden Varenbach. Entering the arena at this time is Showmanship age 15. These exhibitors are Stacy Arthur, Hayden Sparks, Riley Lawbaugh, Waylon Sr., Katie Woofer, Kaylee Jennings, Michaela Blankenship, Anya Nelson, and Alex Bosom. We are splitting Showmanship age 14 into 2 heats, so please listen carefully as to which heat you're in. Heat 1 is going to be Eric Nelson, Mackenzie Blakely, Nicholas Cottle, Bailey Fishback, Eden Myers, Jenna Stahl, and Hunter Ross. The second heat will be Lance Cornwell, Levi Hausch, Mason Ross, Peyton Smith, Caden Hazelbaker, and Savannah Pennington.
Just one heat of them here, but we're gonna just we'll keep moving fairly quickly, and we're not gonna drive the wheels off anything. Pen 5 of them that we're gonna rework, and we're gonna go ahead and dismiss 4 of them. But just to talk these kids real briefly, a young lady here closest to me, I think was close to catching a pin. Barrel's ready, and presentation's good. I think we can just see ringside. Maybe he's wanting to fight the whip a little more than ideal. He wants to be just 2 stop and go. We've got to get that thing into motion and get him rocking and rolling, and because I think the young lady knows exactly what she needs to do to win a Showmanship drive and division. Maybe just not getting the best drive out of her partner. Our trio of young men there, very similar comments. Just need to see more of them in motion. Need to see more of them working just in pace and turns and transitions, especially the 2 young men with the blue ones. Young man with the belted hawk here does a good job showing me a side profile view. Maybe don't see as much of that gilt coming or going or working some different angles. A little too stop and go through our turns, but a nice group. Congratulate those 4, and we'll rework through your top 5.
Heat 1 of Showmanship, age 14, need to be making their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Eric Nelson, Mackenzie Blakely, Nicholas Cottle, Bailey Fishback, Eden Myers, Jenna Stahl, and Hunter Ross.
I think a very good group of 5 of them so far. I think fairly easily the most competitive age division we've had so far, and I think even a few of them we sent back could have been competitive in other divisions. I think the 3 young ladies here on the top end kind of just separated themselves for all those extra things we've been talking about so far today in terms of eye contact, pace, transitions. The best group in terms of just whip placement and where they're using their utensil to hit their animals. And at the same time, I don't necessarily think any of the trio handled when I got in behind them to get them to go straight away or just to get over and change sides. Maybe all 3 of them needed to probably do a little bit better execution in that job, but still take that away. I still think all 3 of them do an awesome job, and you kind of call that a wash between the trio because really all 3 of them need to do it a little better in that regard, but I still think you just set them back, sit here and evaluate them. One of them, it's just more my style in terms of intensity, in terms of eye contact. They're almost walking laps around the other pair of them in terms of just pace and transition. They do a great job of keeping this animal motoring and moving through their turns. Young lady there in the teal-colored shirt is going to go ahead and be our champion. Congratulations to her. Kind of like I said, I think when I tucked in behind her and made her switch sides, and I think she knows it. Ideally, that gilt would have kept walking through that face turn and kept rolling, and that's completely fine. She knows it, too. You can kind of see it in her face because I think if we clean that up or execute that better, the decision's a little easier. But eye contact, whip placement, intensity, young lady does an awesome job. I thought it was close. Young lady in black right here in front of me is going to go second, and that young lady could have won a lot of the other divisions so far today. Her intensity, her eye contact, contact, her ring presence. She commands your attention as soon as she comes in the ring, and I respect all of those things about her. Why does she go second in relation to the young lady who wins? Maybe a little bit of kind of what her bearer's doing to her right there, right now. We get just a little slower geared. We get and I don't necessarily mind slower gear if it's a consistent pace. Every once in a while on our turns, that barrel wants to stop and have to restart that barrel into motion. If we could keep him driving through a few of those extra turns, that decision becomes that much closer. And a young lady in 3, take nothing away from her either, because I think the whole top trio were very, very close. Maybe when I get in behind her, you need to make sure you switch sides once I get on the same side as you, young lady, because if you do that, I think our decision's closer there. Maybe every once in a while, we teach kids, we want to show these things standing at their hip or their ham-loin junction. You almost want to stand in the middle of that pig's rib cage or almost up towards her shoulder. I think we need to stay farther back on our animal. And I think part of that, too, is, in my opinion, you need a longer whip, because honestly, your whip's not long enough for you to stand back by her tail head and still reach up under her chin where you should be. I think that would actually help you and make your job driving her easier. You do an awesome job of pace. Your whip placement's awesome. Eye contact's awesome. The young lady does a great job. Young lady in 3 and our young man, young lady in 4 and our young man in 5, 2. Again, another pair of them that could certainly be higher in other divisions. Young lady does a great job of showing a side profile, keeping her barrel in motion. Maybe you got to watch her whip placement from time to time. You want to hit that barrel a little more on a shoulder blade and forearm than I would deem ideal. A young man that rounds out. Another one in terms of just having control of their animal, in terms of keeping their animal at a good running gear. He does a nice job of that. Maybe every once in a while loses control of that barrel's head. I'd like to see that barrel just drive with his head up a little more. I'd like to see maybe a few extra views and angles in comparison to the ladies ahead of you. But a great group of them. Congratulate all 5 as they head out.
Congratulations, Showmanship, age 15. First place, Kaylee Jennings. Second place, Stacy Arthur. Third place, Michaela Blankenship. Fourth place, Anya Nelson. And fifth place, Waylon Sr. Entering the arena at this time is the first heat of Showmanship, age 14. These exhibitors are Eric Nelson, Mackenzie Blakely, Nicholas Cottle, Bailey Fishback, Eden Myers, Jenna Stahl, and Hunter Ross.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Veterans Day at the Clermont County Fair. Any veteran or active military personnel can go to the multi-purpose building and sign up for door prizes and get a free food voucher good at the 4-H Outpost, the Ohio State Food Booth, or Friends of the Fair Pork Booth. Veterans Day was sponsored by the TQL Foundation and Kramer Myers Waring Dickerson Insurance. Thank you.
If the second heat of showmanship, age 14, could start making their way to the holding pens, these exhibitors are Lance Cornwell, Levi Hausch, Mason Ross, Peyton Smith, Caden Hazelbaker, and Savannah Pennington. Please start making your way up to the holding pens.
Another really nice group of them. Would have been 3 of them. And I think the pair of young ladies, the young lady in the dark blue and the young lady in the kind of, I guess, peachish colored shirt, were close to catching a pin because I think both of them do a good job of working towards the center of the ring. Both of them did a nice job in terms of eye contact. And honestly, I caught both of them with the same mistake. I was getting ready to pin both of them, and then I maybe caught each of them once or twice just on the wrong side of their animal. Or as they went to drive away from me, they crossed around the rear of their animal and cut my viewpoint off. I think if we clean that mistake up on either one of them, they both can catch a pin pretty quickly because past that, those young ladies did a nice job. Our other young lady and our taller young man there maybe just have to get these things just under a nickel more control. Maybe need to see them working more towards the center of the ring, kind of like we talked earlier. We've kind of got that the Dead Sea or open space in front of me that ideally should be occupied. Just need to be working in those more appropriate areas. But if you would, congratulate those 4 and we'll work through your second heat. Go ahead and pen two of them here in this particular heat, and another nice group of them. A young man here to my right is kind of the honorable mention in this particular drive. Does a nice job of keeping that barrel just at a consistent motion, and maybe from time to time kind of loses sight of, I guess, where I'm at in the ring, or kind of disappears in behind me, kind of like what just happened there. And maybe just have to work on keeping our offhand off of that animal. That barrel's trained to go with the whip. We don't need to keep hitting him with that offhand, but in terms of pace, young man does a nice job. Our other pair of young ladies and our young man here to my right, maybe just a little bit more stop and go. Maybe don't see them quite as much, just as many views or angles as some of those other ones that we kept back. But another nice group of them. If you would, show those kids your support as they head out and we work through your top five.
Age 13 of Showmanship can be making their way to the show arena. These exhibitors are Jonathan Noss, Olivia Liming, Tucker Denton, Jaden Swader, Savannah Smith, Riley Carnahan, and Caitlin Brandenburg.
Well, another really nice, strong group of them, and again, I think a trio of them that just do the best job of all the things we've talked about so far today. And then past that, quite honestly, I think one of them, from the time that they came in their heat, just kind of jumped out at you in terms of just presentation and ring presence and posture, and in the same breath, do a great job of keeping their animal in motion. Their whip placement's awesome, and still you see the most views, and they have a really good understanding and ring mannerisms about not being afraid to use the ring and go out to get a good view, but then they come back into view where they're supposed to be. I may think just one that does an awesome job. Young lady here to my right is going to be your champion. Congratulations to her. Think to nitpick you just a little bit, young lady, I think every once in a while as you switch sides of that barrel, I'd love to see you switch whip hands, but that's being nitpicky. A young lady that does an awesome job. I kind of laughed and asked the two young men if they were brothers, and obviously they're twins, they said, and it was kind of funny because you guys don't have to follow each other around everywhere, because I think the decision between 2 and 3 is really close, because not only do they look alike, they show exactly alike, and they would do a lot of this right here where they're literally just following each other around the ring in almost the same pattern. I wish they would just separate and do something a little bit different than one or the other, because it makes it close. In relation to the young lady who beats them, they both maybe just needed to be a fuzz faster geared. Maybe at times both of them just get a little closer to me, or they do exactly that right there. We have all of this ring space out here right now. We don't need to be right on top of each other, because I think if you two do that, it becomes incredibly competitive on the top pair. I thought one of them's pace and just whip placement and changes were just a little smoother. I like the young man here closest to me to go second, young man on the far side to go 3. And again, I think both of those young men do an awesome job. Just space out and use the ring more. And I think we talk about an incredibly close top trio of them. As we drop out 4 and 5, our young man there in 4, again, a very good showman in his own right in comparison to the 3 of them above him. Just wants to get a little more stop and go on that gilt. Does a great job of doing what he's doing right there. When he goes to make some of your turns, young man, that gilt almost completely stops on you, and you have to restart her back into motion, just like she did there. If we can keep her moving, we can work up. Young man in 5 actually does a nickel better job in terms of pace and just keeping that barrel in motion. We've got to change exactly what you just did coming out. We've got to change your whip placement and where you're hitting that barrel. Your barrel responds to your whip incredibly well. We don't need to hit him on the top of his spine or his loin edge. Hit him on his side and his rib cage to get him going. If we fix that, I think we can move you up a spot or 2. Great group of them. If you guys would, congratulate those kids as they head out.
Congratulations, Showmanship, age 14. First place, Jenna Stahl. Second place, Hunter Ross. Third place, Mason Ross. Fourth place, Levi Hausch. And fifth place, Eric Nelson. Entering the arena at this time is Showmanship, age 13. These exhibitors are Jonathan Noss, Olivia Liming, Jaden Swader, Savannah Smith, Riley Carnahan, and Caitlin Brandenburg. Judge, we're waiting for one more to enter. We'll be splitting Showmanship age 12 into 2 heats, so please listen as to which heat you're in. The first heat is going to be Delaney Donahue, Ace Tyndall, Madeline Royce, Shelby Swader, Kylie Bosom, and Addison Stropman. The second heat will be Isabella Bickle, Nolan Armour, Olivia Havarilla, Scarlett Lucky, Xander Fishback, and Kemper Shepard. The first heat can be making their way up to the holding pens. Again, the first heat of age 12 Showmanship can be making their way to the holding pens.
I think another nice group of them here, and again, just one class of them, so we'll just leave them on drive. And I think you should step back, evaluate them, watch them. There's one of them that has done the most things correct, and at the same time haven't made just any major mistakes. Just kind of cool, calm, collected, really good in terms of their eye contact, good in terms of just pace and appropriateness, and still whip placement's very, very good. Young lady right here in front of me is going to win this particular division. Congratulations to her. And again, like I said, she's just cool, calm, collected, incredibly smooth style of showman, and just does a really good job driving that gilt, has a great understanding of when to push and when to kind of ease up on her. Maybe from time to time, young lady, I think, honestly, I wish you'd, this is a pet peeve thing of mine, I wish you'd take your hand out from behind your back. To me, it doesn't look natural, and at the same time, it almost makes it harder for you to switch whip hands when you switch sides of the pig. But again, that's being nitpicky on a young lady who I thought did a very good job. I think from there, it gets closer, and you can have some discussion on realistically to the whole way down through, because I think all of these kids from time to time have done a really nice job, and then again from time to time have maybe caught all of them out of position or need to change an extra thing or two. Ultimately, I like the young man with the calico hog to go ahead and go reserve, and I think he did the next best job of eye contact, of intensity, of working to drive that gilt into spaces in the ring, and you know, I maybe caught him out of position a couple extra times where he wanted to cross in front of his pig and cut my viewpoint off. I think if we clean that up, the decision to place him into second becomes just a little bit easier. Young man with the belted gilt right behind him is going to go third, and a young man, skin and hair and presentation's very good, has that gilt ready to come and show and showmanship. Maybe wants to drift too far from me sometimes, maybe wants to work a little closer to the rail. I just wish we could see her driving in that 5 to 15 foot range more in front of me, because I think if he does that, we can talk about moving him up. Young lady with the belted hog on the far side, and the black's going to go 4, and she does an awesome job of eye contact, does a great job of keeping that gilt's head up. Skin and hair and presentation, again, is very good. That gilt wants to fight her too much. She's too far away from me in relation to our top trio, but young lady still does a very nice job. And there, when we talk about around in the class out there in 5, 6, and 7, it becomes closer because all 3 of the showmen we've got left maybe have worked closer to me from time to time. Maybe either wanted to be too close or the pigs are fighting them on the rail. rail or just too far away. The one I saw the next most will be the young lady right here closest to me. Will go ahead and be fifth. And again, kind of like I said, she does a good job of getting this gilt out. Maybe either wants to get too close to me or a little too stop and go in relation to the four above her. Young lady on the far side with the black one, young man with the belted one here. Again, just have to get a better drive out of our partners, but a good group of them. Show those kids your support as they head on back.
Congratulations, Showmanship, age 13. First place, Caleb Brandenburg. Second place, Jaden Swader. Third place, Jonathan Noss. Fourth place, Savannah Smith. And fifth place, Olivia Liming. Entering the arena at this time is the first heat of Showmanship, age 12. His exhibitors are Delaney Donahue, Ace Tyndall, Madeline Royce, Shelby Swader, Kylie Bosom, and Addison Strawman. If you are a junior fair board member currently in the barns, please come to the announcer's stand. The second heat of Showmanship, age 12, can be making their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Isabella Bickle, Nolan Armour, Olivia Havarilla, Scarlett Lucky, Xander Fishback, and Kemper Shepard. You can be making your way up to the holding pens. Again, if you are a junior fair board and in the barns, could you please come to the announcer's stand?
going to go ahead and keep 3 of them here in our first heat of 12-year-olds, and a very, very good heat of them. All 6 of these kids are doing a very nice job, and the 3 of them that we're going to send back could have honestly probably caught a pen in several of those older age divisions. Just to talk them real quickly, young lady with the white-legged one over there to the right does a great job of keeping that gilt's head up. Her eye contact was awesome. Maybe just a little bit more stop and go than ideal, and obviously that gilt's maybe wanting to fight her the longer the drive goes on. Our young man with the blue-eyed one there on the far side, another one too. Presentation's very good. Maybe another barrel that's just wanting to fight the whip. Young man, from time to time, you want to stand too far up on that barrel. You're almost in the middle of him or up towards his shoulder, and as soon as you get up on his shoulders when he wants to stop on you, they stay back more towards his ham loin or his hip, and he'll stay in a better motion forward for you. Young lady with the blue one, again, I think was probably the closest to catching a pen. You do a great job of understanding to work in the center of the ring. Maybe from time to time you've got to watch where you're hitting that gilt. You're almost hitting her more on her shoulder blade and her forearm rather than her side or up under her neck. Maybe too in relation to the 3 that stay, kind of like what was just right there, just a little more stop and go through your turns. But again, that's nitpicking on 3 showmen that I think are really close to catching a pen and have a bright future. If you would, congratulate all 3 of them on a job well done as they head out. think another really nice group of them on our 12-year-olds here, and I think the 4 of them we're going to send back still really close. A young man in the long sleeves there on the far side. I thought when he first came in he was going to be really tough to keep out of a pin because his intensity and his eye contact were incredibly good. You know, maybe unfortunately for him today, as this drive went on, his partner started to fight even more. We maybe found the rail and maybe just got a little more inconsistent in terms of our ring placement because he was either getting too close to me or almost too far away. But I still think a young man on a different day does a very nice job. The young exhibitor here in front of me with kind of the crazy colored one does a great job in terms of just keeping that gilt in motion and keeping her head up. And I like all of those things. At the same time, we almost maybe just go side to side. I don't see as much of that hog coming at me or going away from me. Don't see quite as many views as maybe the pair of them that we kept. And our other pair of youngsters out here again, another pair of them are working really hard. Very similar comments. They do a good job of finding the center of the ring. They both give me some eye contact. They both do a nice job of showing me a side profile view in the same breath. Maybe get a little more stop and go on our turns or just either want to drift too far or don't see as many angles or extra views of our particular pigs as we do the ones that we kept. But it's still an awesome group of them. Show your support for those 4 kids as they head out.
Just a reminder, we need all junior fair board members that are in the barn to please come to the announcer's stand.
Another really nice group of them here to round up the top 5 of your 12-year-olds. And I think all 5 of these kids are doing a very good job. You can go to a lot of counties or a lot of shows, and you'd struggle to, when you start to get into younger divisions, to find 1 or 2 kids that can keep control of their animals. And honestly, probably every kid throughout this 12-year-old division has done a very good job of that. And the pigs apparently are listening to me, because as soon as I say that, they decide they're going to be attitudes over there. But still, I think all 5 of these kids have done a very good job. For me, there was one of them, I guess, to be totally honest, is maybe not necessarily, I guess, my style in terms of just intensity and ring posture and presence. They're maybe just a little more just calm and cool and relaxed and almost easygoing style of showman, and that's okay, because I think they get the job done extremely well. They get their animal presented. I've seen the most views of their particular animal. I've seen the most angles, and in the same breath, they've done a nice job of keeping their animal in between themselves and the judge, never cut my viewpoint off, and just have a very good understanding of what they're supposed to do in the ring. The young man with the blue gilt here in front of me will be your champion. Congratulations to him. You don't get worked up about a whole lot, do you, man? I don't know if we've seen him smile. He's still not going to smile. It's okay. I guess, like I said, personal preference. Man, I'd like to see it just come in. And you don't have to necessarily look intense, but you've got such good control of that gilt. I'd like to see it just attack some holes and show me a few extra views from time to time. But I still think that young man did an excellent job. The one that I guess is a little more intense and kind of my style is a young lady here in front of me. Is going to go ahead and go second. And her eye contact, her ring presence was awesome. And when she came in her particular heat, I thought, man, she's going to be tough to beat in this division. And I think if we can change one particular thing, she is. And it's kind of like what we're running into right now. Every once in a while, young lady, I'd catch you on the wrong side of that gilt, or you'd cut my viewpoint off, kind of like just right now. If we get onto the other side of that animal, I think the decision becomes closer. But young lady still does a very good job. 3, 4, and 5 are closer, and they're different styles and speed and pace. The one that was the next most consistent, the young lady there in the yellow going away from me, is going to go ahead and go third. And eye contact does a nice job of keeping that barrel in motion. A little slower geared. I'd like to just see that barrel giddy up and go and to be able to show me a few extra views in relation to the 2 above her, but young lady did an awesome job. Young lady here closest to me is going to go 4, and I maybe had her a spot or 2 higher initially, and that barrel started to fight her and kind of got caught on the rail for a little while. Did a really good job of just staying cool, calm, and collected and getting that barrel back into an appropriate position and to be able to still get us a good drive. Young man, no slouch in his own right, that ends up 5th. You do a great job in terms of pace and consistency. I maybe caught you too on the wrong side of your animal from time to time in relation to the 4 above you, but still an awesome group of kids. Congratulate all 5 of them as they head out.
Congratulations, Showmanship, age 12. First place, Kemper Shepherd. Second place, Shelby Swader. Third place, Kylie Bosom. Fourth place, Delaney Donahue. And fifth place, Nolan Armour.
Pam Burns to the announcer stand. Pam Burns to the announcer stand.
Everybody, I'm Morgan Miller. I'm with the Junior Fair Board. So this year we partnered with Farm Credit and Rural First. We participated in Stock the Trailer, if anybody's seen our trailer sitting down by the chicken barn. And today, Amanda and Matt with Farm Credit are here to present the Junior Fair Board with a $500 check for participating in Stock the Trailer. And if anybody would like to make donations, please stop at the Junior Fair Board office or just put it in the trailer down by the barn.
Showmanship, age 11, can be making their way to a show arena. These exhibitors are Landon Blankenship, Jackson Noss, Landon Blankenship, Pascal Stahl, McKinley Fishback, and Lillian Lane.
but just four of them here in this particular age division. And I think maybe a group of younger kids that all need just a little more time and experience in the ring. But in that same breath, I think there's one of them that just has the best understanding of what they're supposed to do in terms of whip placement, in terms of keeping their animal's head up, and at a steady, consistent pace. Young man right here in front of me is going to win this particular age group. And I think young man skin and hair presentation is very good. Young man, we've maybe got what I would say one bad habit that we've got to work on as far as a showmanship perspective goes. You do an awesome job presenting that gilt and making her look good on the side. Every once in a while, you maybe want to lose sight of where I'm at and cross around the rear of that gilt and completely cut my viewpoint off. And excuse me, in a more challenging showmanship group or division or later in the final, that's something that's going to, I guess, come back to bite you. But still, I think if we clean that up, a young man becomes a very good showman. Young man here to my left is going to go ahead and go second and does the next best job. It's just working his barrel towards the center of the ring at an appropriate pace. It's good in terms of his eye contact, maybe in comparison to the young man who wins. We need to be a little smoother in our turns, maybe need to show me a few more angles and views. Our pair of youngsters that round our class out, maybe wanting to fight their partners a little more and find the rail a little more than ideal. The young man's going to go ahead and go third. Our young lady's going to be fourth. Just saw a little bit more of the young man off the rail, more towards the center of the ring, but a pair of showmen that are working their butts off. Just need to get them more out towards me, towards center field here to evaluate them a little better. Good group. Congratulate all four of them as they head out.
There will be 2 heats of showmanship age 10. Please listen as to which heat you are in. The first heat will be Kay Sexton, Shelby Bainham, Logan Sands, Claire Bullock, and Stella Ninichuk. If you could please be making your way to the show arena at this time. The second heat will be Wyatt Blakely, Colton Phillips, Carly Sandfoss, Trevin Faulkner, McKenna McCoy, and Lillian Davidson. Congratulations, showmanship age 11. First place, Jackson Noss. Second place, Landon Blankenship. Third place, Pascal Stahl. And fourth place, McKinley Fishback. The second heat of Showmanship age 10 can be making their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Wyatt Blakely, Colton Phillips, Carly Sandfoss, Trevin Faulkner, McKenna McAvoy, and Lillian Davidson.
Just a smaller heat of them here. Going to send our two young ladies back, but still they do a really nice job and are working hard in relation to the three of them that we kept. Maybe just don't get quite as much eye contact from either one of them. Maybe either one to be the young ladies kind of pull up here and Bear wants to be just a little naturally slow. Maybe the young lady's belted one wants to get away from her and be a little fast from time to time. But both of those young ladies are doing a good job. Give them a nice round of applause as they head out.
We have a 5-year-old little boy that is missing outside the barn. He's in red shorts and a plaid shirt. His name is Harry. If you see him, would you please bring him to the announcer stand, please?
I think maybe a more challenging group of them as we get into some of these younger ones, just to find a couple to go ahead and keep back, because I think all 6 of them were close to catching a pen, and then at the same time, maybe all 6 of them either want to drift too far away or get tucked in behind Sheriff Pigs, just maybe want to get away from them or get a little faster than ideal or the kids would like, and that's completely fine and okay. They're younger, and they're just going to get better with trips and time through the ring and more experience, but I think ultimately keep the 2 young ladies that we just saw the most of towards the center. And I think our young man and young lady there in front of me were close as well, because they both would do exactly what they're doing right now and get me a good side profile, and then maybe at the same time they'd either both disappear behind me or just too far to the other side of the ring in relation. But I think a pair of them that have a bright future and are very close, or a pair of young men there in the corner, maybe just not having as ideal of a day as they certainly wish they would have had with their partners, just not cooperating as much. But still, kids are doing a great job. Give them a nice round of applause as they head out.
We are going to split Showmanship age 9 into 2 heats, so please listen as to which heat you are in. The first heat is going to be Marilyn Stahl, Briley Clem, Riley Borchers, Clint Dollemeyer, and Wesley Tucker. The first heat of age 9 Showmanship can start making their way up to the holding pens.
I think a really nice group of them here in our next age division, and all 5 of these kids are doing a very good job. And in the same breath, I think there's one of them, at least in this judge's opinion, that just kind of excels the rest in terms of intensity, eye contact. Their ring mannerisms and pace and whip placement are very good. They do a very good job at just keeping their animal in motion. They do an awesome job of presenting their animal with their head up and making their animal look her absolute best the entire time that they drive them. A young man right here in the blue short sleeve shirt is going to be your champion. Congratulations to him. Thought that young man did an excellent job. And, you know, maybe from time to time, young man, you almost wanted to get just a little bit too close to me, I guess, for my liking. But that's being very nitpicky on a young man who I thought did an excellent job. I thought 2 and 3 got a little closer. Ultimately, I like the young lady here to my right to go ahead and go second. Her eye contact, her intensity's awesome. Skin and hair and presentation was very good. In relation to the young man who wins, maybe just catch her out of position a time or two more. Maybe just gets a little bit more stop and go through her turns and has to almost stop that gilt and turn her 90 degrees and restart her into motion. But once she gets back into motion, her intensity, her eye contact, her whip placement are very, very good. The one that I thought was going to be tough to beat when he first came in the ring is going to be the young man in purple. Is going to end up in third because when he first hits the ring, his whip placement and his control over that bear was very good in his particular heat. Maybe come back out here for the final. He loses sight of where I was at a little bit more. That barrel wanted to drift and we got too far away. Didn't get as much eye contact as what we did out of our top pair. Maybe just a little bit more stop and go. Again, I thought in his particular heat he was awesome. Maybe just not as consistent out here in the final. Our young ladies in 4 and 5 still doing a very good job in their own right. They both do a good job at just keeping their animals in motion in relation to the 3 that beat them. Maybe we don't see as many extra views or angles. We maybe don't just get as many of those extras, and that's completely okay because we're in 10 or 11-year-olds here, and these kids have got plenty of time to get better. I saw more of the young lady here to my right is going to be 4, young lady in front of me is going to be 5, but an awesome group of them. Put your hands together for all those kids as they head out.
Congratulations, Showmanship, age 10. First place, Logan Santis. Second place, Clara Bullock. Third place, Case Sexton. Fourth place, Lillian Davidson. And fifth place, Carly Sandfoss. Entering the arena at this time is Heat 1 of Showmanship, age 9. These exhibitors are Marilyn Stahl, Briley Clem, Riley Borchers, Clint Dollemeyer, and Tucker Wesley. The second heat of Showmanship, age 9, can make their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Gideon Flesher, Travis Brandenburg, Kaylee Loizo, Lainey Wood, and Paisley Tyndall. Again, you can be making your way to the holding pens.
two heats of them here in this group. The young man and the young lady we're going to send back again, doing an awesome job. And as we get into these younger kids, you start to see just some extra things that they need to work on. And again, that's completely fine because this is probably their just first or second year doing the particular project, and they've got a lot of years to get better. In relation to the three that we kept, maybe just don't see as much eye contact from either one of them. Maybe just have to get both of them just in a little better motion. But both of those kids did an awesome job. Show them your support as they head out. Another really nice group of them, and going to keep three of them. Again, our young lady and young man that we're going to send back. Still doing a very good job. Maybe just pigs wanting to fight them a little more. Maybe kind of found the rail and don't want to get off of it. But that's completely okay. Kids are still working really hard. Give them a nice round of applause as they head back.
Showmanship, age 8, need to be making their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Ansel Hatfield and Elijah Newberry.
Well, if you guys would ringside, go ahead and put your hands together for these kids here in our 9-year-old division. I think the future of showmanship here is incredibly bright, and it's been competitive the whole way through, and quite honestly, take nothing away from some of those older divisions. This, at least in my opinion, has been far and above the most competitive age group, and quite honestly, it's not even that close. To be totally honest with you, I think 1 through 6 the whole way through are very, very competitive, and that doesn't mean that the best showman that doesn't mean that the best showman that we've seen all day is in this particular class. I'm not saying that, but in terms of just pound for pound, age for age, and quality of competition, far and above the deepest water that we've had. So my sincerest compliment to not only these 6, but realistically all 10 of them in this particular age group. I thought these kids did an awesome job, and you know, they're not perfect, but they're 9 years old. Heck, we don't expect them to be, but I think the 4 we have left drive and do the best job. It's just a lot of those things that we've talked about all day long, and I think it maybe boils down to a top pair of them that are a nickel more consistent, and of that pair, there's just one that's just been spot on from the, I think from the word go, from the time they've hit the ring. Skin and hair and presentations on point, eye contact's on point, their ring mannerisms and maturity, and honestly, I would say that the main separating factor between the one that's going to win and the one that's going to go in reserve, it's just the ability to keep their animal at a steady motion and pace as they move and maneuver through their turns. Young man with that blue gilt will be your champion. Congratulations to him. Young man does an awesome job, and again, I think to just be nitpicky, young man, if you want to continue to get better, we need to switch whip hands when we switch sides of the pigs, and I mean, every once in a while, you maybe just want to hit that gilt a little higher on her spine than I would deem ideal, but that's being nitpicky on a young man who does an excellent job. I said I thought it was very close between first and second. The young lady on the far side is going to go ahead and be reserve, and she is intense, incredibly good in terms of her eye contact. Her intensity and posture when she came into the ring was awesome. Maybe that barrel got a little more stop and go on her from time to time when she tried to get through her turns. Every once in a while, I'd catch her with her offhand wanting to hit the side of that barrel. Maybe it's just a bad habit to break at a younger age, but still, that young lady did an excellent job. Young lady here closest to me is going to go third, and man, she could stare a hole through a brick wall. Her eye contact's incredible. Her ring presence was awesome. Maybe in relation to our top pair of them, got a little farther away or too close from time to time, maybe got a little bit more stop and go. But man, when she's on and she's rocking and rolling and in motion, she does a great job of showing views. She does an awesome job of eye contact. Young lady in pink's right there with them that goes four. Another one, whip placement, eye contact's awesome. Maybe her barrel's a little more stop and go, maybe not quite as smooth through her turns, but still, man, when she goes, she's good, and just some minor things to work on as we roll up through, but an awesome group of them. And we drop out the young man in 5 and our young lady in 6, and again, we take nothing away from them because for youngsters, those kids are doing an awesome job in their own right. Young man does the goodest job of any of them of keeping that barrel in motion at a steady pace. I maybe caught you 2 or 3 times, young man, where you crossed right in front of me and cut my viewpoint off. If you don't step in front of me and cut my viewpoint off, I think we can talk about moving you up a spot or two. And young lady that rounds our class out, really well presented when young lady's working really hard, just got a little more slower geared, got a little more stop and go through her turns and transitions, but an awesome group of them. Congratulate all 6 of those kids as they head out.
Making their way to the show arena at this time can be all class winners from age 18 to 9. These exhibitors are 18, Luke Jennings, 17, Madeline Griffith, 16, Shelby Highfield, 15, Kaylee Jennings, 14, Jenna Stahl, 13, Caitlin Brandenburg, 12, Kimber Shepard, 11, Jackson Noss, 10, Logan Sands, and 9, Travis Brandenburg. Congratulations to Showmanship, age 9. First place, Travis Brandenburg. Second place, Paisley Tyndall. Third place, Briley Clem. Fourth place, Kayla Wiseau. And fifth place, Clint Dollemeyer.
Just a pair of them here in our 8-year-old division, and both young men are doing a really nice job. Young man over here to my right is going to go ahead and be first, and young man to my left is going to be second. And again, just a split between them. Young man that wins maybe just has a little more control over his particular animal, but at the same time, both of these youngsters are doing a really good job. I would assume this is definitely their first time at the county fair, maybe first time in showmanship ever, and even if it's not, they've got plenty of years ahead of them to work and grow and get better. If you guys would, give both of those young men a big round of applause as they head out.
Entering the arena at this time is all class winners from age 18 to 8. Kemper Shepherd, you need to be making your way to the show arena at this time. Following the showmanship final drive, we are going to start with our swine adult showmanship. We had to split this into 2 heats, so please listen carefully as to which heat you're in. The first heat is going to be Kevin Tyndall, Justin Clem, Scott Shepard, Brian Sexton, Jake Wilson, Trista Myers, Robin Hatfield, Chad Evans, and Megan Waring. The second heat is going to be Taryn Bird, Matthew Waring, Jake Cruey, Logan Berger, Faith Stegbauer, Abigail Averwater, Belle Jones, Lane Young, Brenda Brandenburg, and Cody Dollemeyer. Just a reminder that for Pee Wee Showmanship, they can only enter if they are 4-H age. So if they were below 5 years old, they were scratched off.
Well, if you guys would, here ringside, let's go ahead and put our hands together for all your age division winners. Thought a very, very good group of them, and initially I was just going to pen a few off and kind of rework, I guess, what I thought were the top 3 or 4, but honestly, you bring all these kids back out here, I think they're all doing an excellent job, and they all certainly, in my opinion, deserve to stay and sit out here the entire time and drive, and you guys here in Clermont County should be just incredibly proud of these kids and you kids, whoever's working with you, if it's siblings or breeders or advisors, etc. Make sure you thank them, because I guess the show numbers haven't been huge in terms of just the amount of kids we've seen today, but I think quality's been very, very good the entire way throughout, from our older kids, and we talked about how good I thought that 9-year-old division was, so the whole way through it's been very good. I think you bring them out here. I guess I'm not necessarily going to talk in detail about them. We've got to get you a champion and a reserve overall showman. I thought, I guess, just to talk briefly of ones that I think are in contention, or I guess I think have done the most extras. I think the young lady here with the blue gilt in front of me is in contention. I think the young lady in the tealish colored shirts in contention. The young lady in pink's in contention. Our oldest young man there in the long sleeve blues in contention. I think our young man out of that 9-year-old division is in contention. And I think the young lady over here to my left is in contention. Those are the probably the 6 of them, I guess, as we've worked through the day. I thought were the most consistent in their mannerisms. I think they were the most appropriate in terms of just their pace. And we've talked pace all day. Pace doesn't necessarily have to be super fast or slow or in between. Consistent pace is key. Staying in one just consistent motion, being able to keep that animal working through your turns and your transitions. And still, those are the ones that were the best, the most appropriate in terms of their whip placement, their eye contact, their ring posture, their intensity. I think for me, there's one of them that hit me really hard, that especially even in this competitive bigger group, I think they do the best job of just not only showing me the most views and angles of their animal, they find the holes, their ring mannerisms. They know when it's okay to go ahead and drift a little farther away to stay out of the crowd, and then they work back in and hit a hole just perfectly, or they're able to almost swim upstream, if you will, kind of against traffic and navigate it. I think they've done an excellent job. Young lady in the pink's your champion. Congratulations to her. I thought from there it gets even closer. I thought that young lady was absolutely lights out, and I think it gets really close, honestly, between a pair of them for reserve, between our oldest young man and our young lady there in teal. And I think maybe both of them, in relation to the young lady who wins, every once in a while maybe just got caught in that crowd, maybe just got a Fuzzmore stop and go right through a turn or two, or just got stuck in a spot just ever so slightly in relation to her. I think it's splitting hairs between that pair of them. I'd like the young lady in teal to go ahead and be reserved. Congratulations to her.
Yeah. Making their way to the Hold'em Arena at this time should be the first heat of Swine adult showmen. These exhibitors are Kevin Tyndall, Justin Clem, Scott Shepard, Brian Sexton, Trista Myers, Robin Hatfield, Chad Evans, and Megan Waring. Congratulations, Grand Champion Swine Showman, Jenna Stahl, Reserve Champion, Kaylee Jennings. Our second heat of swine adult showmen need to be making their way to the holding pens. These exhibitors are Taryn Bird, Matthew Waring, Jake Cruey, Logan Berger, Faith Stegbauer, Abigail Averwater, Belle Jones, Lane Young, Brenda Brandenburg, and Cody Dollemeyer.
Well, we might as well have a little bit of fun with them while we've got 2 heats of them. So you youngsters showing out here, I want you guys to all start walking, take your pigs this way, and I want you to walk in a circle around the ring. But stay in the line that you're in, so you shouldn't be passing anybody, just like you're showing a goat or a lamb or steer. We shouldn't. It's not NASCAR. We're not passing. I want you to walk in a circle around us, stay in a nice single file line, and keep those things under control. All right, our champion junior showman's made her pair of selections here. We're going to keep those 2 young men. If you guys would ringside, put a big round of applause together for the ones that we're going to send back.
Making their way to the holding pens at this time should be Heat 1 of Swine PB Showmanship. There are 3 heats, so please listen carefully as to which heat your child is in. The first heat is going to be Jackson Newberry, Cora Shepard, Theo Pope, Jack Wilson, Ellie Terry, Charlotte Williams, Aaron Haddix, Braylee Kirk, Grace Fancook, and Kay Stahl.
Just a reminder, all Pee Wee showmen have to have an exhibitor or advisor escort with them in the ring.
We're going to go ahead and keep 3 of them here in our second heat. Again, these adults are doing an awesome job. If you guys would show them, give them a nice round of applause for being good sports out here as they head out. All right, so you're cheating on me already. So going to have a little bit of fun with them. So we've got our little fort in the middle of the ring there. Yeah, you guys are doing great and all. We want you to take the pig through, but the showman needs to go through it as well with the pig. So just keep showing to us. Well, if you guys would ringside, let's put our hands together real quick here for our top 5. But, they've done an awesome job, and honestly, they've been great sports for the kids. I'm going to turn the microphone over to our young lady here, and she's going to get you a champion in reserve.
Okay, so I don't really know what I'm doing, but for the champion, I like the lady with the blue butt pig. I like her because she keeps the pig's head up and she stays at a constant pace, and her eye contact's really good. As reserve, I like the man in the purple. I say this because he might get a little far away from me, but he doesn't cut your viewpoint of the pig, and his eye contact's really good.
Yeah, that was good. If you guys would give those adults and our young lady here one more big round of applause.
Congratulations, Grand Champion Adult Swine Showman, Brenda Brandenburg, and Reserve, Cody Dollemeyer. This is a reminder that Jenna Stahl and Brenda Brandenburg will be participating in Show of Shows tomorrow starting at 1 p.m. in the Horse Arena.
Well, we've got 3 heats of Pee Wee Showman here, and we've got 6 or 7 of them out here doing an awesome job. It's always, I guess, fun to see the Pee Wee Showman, and you can honestly see why some of those younger divisions in your actual 4-H show were competitive, because these kids are starting at just an earlier and younger age, and I guess we're not placing them, but they're all doing a great job. Our pair of young men here in the center of the ring are doing an awesome job in terms of just keeping these things moving and great eye contact and whip placement, and realistically that whole group of kids is doing great. If you guys would give them a nice big round of applause as they head out.
The second heat of showman should be in the second heat of Pee Wee Showmanship be in the holding pens. These exhibitors are Jenna Newberry, Megan Sanis, Mason Haddix, Axel Fancook, Boone Burbage, Tabor Burbage, Josie Sr., Lindley Jarman, Caitlin Lindsay, and Kinsley Stahl.
Well, certainly another awesome group of them out here. Again, these kids doing a fantastic job. A young lady there in the purple shirt there with the belted barrel going away from me is doing an incredible job for her age. Very, very good in terms of eye contact. This young lady with the solid black barrel going away from me as well. Just doing a great job. And realistically, all of these kids getting awesome experience and have got people helping them behind the scenes. If you guys would, give these kids a great big round of applause as they head out.
After the conclusion of the Pee Wee Swine Showmanship, we are going to take a 15-minute break before beginning our County Born and Raised show, starting with Gilts.
Well, it's just another absolutely outstanding group and a bigger group of them. But, man, there's 5 or 6 or 7 of these kids that are doing just a whale of a job. A young man with the blue hog, a young man there with the belted one in front of us, a young lady with the belted one over there, a young lady in brown. And still, honestly, I could probably name about all of them. The future is certainly going to be bright here. Give these kids one big last round of applause as they head out on a job well done.
Just a reminder, we will be taking a 15-minute break between the conclusion of Showmanship and the Clermont County Born and Raised Show. Riley Pence is our first exhibitor. We'll be beginning with gilts with her lightweight gilt. Riley Pence, you need to be getting ready in the barns.